LA
Yeah.
the other day, yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but now this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but doesn't think you can win.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate?
Bill Maher might have a soft spot for Gavin Newsom, but that didn't stop him from unloading on him for wrecking California. Ask any Democrat eyeing the DNC throne in 2028, and Gavin's name jumps to the top. But his record in Maher's own backyard is a train wreck. Homelessness, crime, taxes. Every issue is worse, and it's driving Maher up the wall. So when he went after his favorite liberal poster boy, it was zero sugarcoating, zero mercy.
New law in this, I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, so you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So you think that's silly? You think that's a silly thing that too much government there?
That's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they're the ones making a case for that. They were making a case. They're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself.
Bill Maher didn't waste a breath. Under Gavin Newsom, California's turned into a red tape nightmare. Endless rules, suffocating regulations, and a government so slow it feels frozen in concrete. From sloppy wildfire responses to the chaos of ICE riots, Newsom's leadership has been weak. He even had the audacity to side with rioters and dare Donald Trump to arrest him. For Maher, it's the definition of political theater over real leadership.
10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
After outrage exploded online and pressure came from both sides, Gavin Newsom cracked. He issued a public apology, backpedaling so fast it was dizzying. Then, in a desperate pivot, he suddenly threatened arrests and tried to act tough, like he'd been in control the whole time. But the public saw through it. Critics called it fake, desperate, and proof that Newsom is more performer than leader.
Newsom did eventually come out and apologize. If you want to go on Twitter, Rob, and just go to the apology video that he came out eventually. This is, I think, 5 days later. On day one, I asked him, I said, are you going to come out and do this? Watch how he's finally wanting to have his people be responsible. Go ahead, Rob.
Incite violence. I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account.
Okay.
That kind of criminal behavior will not be tolerated. Full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested. And we're reviewing tapes to build additional cases. And people will be prosecuted.
If Newsom can't control chaos in California, how can he handle a real national crisis? Imagine a foreign threat at America's doorstep. Would he crumble again, scramble to fix it afterward, and then offer another hollow apology? Bill Maher sees the pattern. Flashy speeches, progressive packaging, zero substance. Even Democrats are quietly admitting Newsom's 2028 chances are nearly dead.
LA, yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want to run president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but doesn't think you can win.
One lifelong Democratic voter put it bluntly. Gavin Newsom doesn't stand a chance. Not because he's too progressive, but because he's too incompetent. The economy's falling apart. Homelessness is spiraling, crime is exploding. And it's not just voters, celebrities are calling him out. Mel Gibson has openly shown disdain for his leadership.
Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate?
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass should be embarrassed. Families are fleeing the state to escape sky-high taxes, rampant crime, and unaffordable housing. Even big names like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro packed their bags and left. This isn't just bad optics, it's a 5-alarm fire. If Newsom can't fix it, the honorable thing is to get out of the way. And Bill O'Reilly has something to say about that.
It doesn't seem to be an organic display of protest. That means that it doesn't have a constituency among regular people. The Los Angeles protesters were fueled by very militant far-left organizations that passed out masks and frozen water bottles and other forms of protection for the protesters. Same thing in New York. This is all organized by the far left, but the people aren't coming out. In fact, on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock in New York, everybody went home. In fact, I guess they were hungry. So this is kind of contrived, and the media hoped it would explode into something more so that Trump would look bad, but that doesn't seem to have been the case.
O'Reilly didn't name names, but everyone knew he meant Gavin Newsom, the governor who gave vague, soft responses when protests exploded and avoided any real condemnation. Then there were reports of frozen water bottles and masks handed to protesters. Who's funding it? If left-wing groups tied to Newsom are involved, it's not just bad politics. It's a betrayal of public trust.
California Governor Newsom wanted these demonstrations to explode so he could use that as a political cudgel against Trump and elevate himself into a left-wing candidate for president in 28. And let me back that up. So when you have the police chief of Los Angeles in a press conference saying, we're outmanned, we can't control the violence, the fires on the cars, the throwing objects at our own police and ICE agents, we can't control it. And you don't have the governor immediately sending the National Guard down to help the LAPD, then you know the governor doesn't care or wants it to explode. And that's what I believe Newsom did.
O'Reilly says it's obvious. Newsom is laying the groundwork for 2028. From polished media appearances to his new bipartisan-sounding podcast, the rebrand is in full swing. But here's the danger. If he's soft on crime and ignoring unrest to score political points, that's reckless. Leaders protect people. They don't gamble with safety to climb the ladder.
In New York, they didn't want it to explode, and it's easier to control it here because the city is so claustrophobic, and the cops know how to do this, and they did a good job. So they didn't give the miscreants a lot of room to set anything on fire or things like that, and you didn't need the federal presence.
When unrest threatened New York, the governor acted instantly, mobilizing resources, enforcing order, no hesitation. Gavin Newsom, slow, cautious, and dripping with political calculation. And when leaders hesitate, neighborhoods burn and public trust vanishes. That's the difference between a governor who leads and one who campaigns.
Or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense.
In a twist, Gavin Newsom proves a bigger point. The Democratic Party is imploding from within. Even Karine Jean-Pierre, the former White House press secretary, is walking away. You don't quit a party you served at the top unless something's badly broken. Infighting, fake theater, no real solutions. It's all catching up. And if insiders are jumping ship, even Newsom can't pretend the ship isn't sinking.